It's another fine day at Camp Dynasty. I am Counselor Austin, joined by Counselor Collin, and we are fresh off the heels of week 1 of college football. We are officially all the way back. I know that really this whole thing is about the draft process and like the postseason and like the rankings. That's where, all of the attention goes. That's where all of the excitement is. But Collin, there is just something about the weekly badge presentations that just holds a very special place in my heart.
There's nothing like watching football. That's what it's really all about. Like I think you get caught up in like the rankings and how can I sort them correctly and who am I drafting, when like the real prize of it all is watching these guys on Saturdays and Sundays. And so we're finally back to doing that, and breaking down the week to week is like, you again get caught up in the how can I be right about these players, but it's really just kind of a treat to just sit down and be like, man, these guys are playing. Like we get to see them live and in person, doing the damn thing.
It's not hypothetical. It's not theoretical. It's just,
If
how'd you
he
do
does
last week?
this, and
Yep.
how could it be when we're here?
It's just pure and simple ball.
Yep.
Who had the best week? How cool did it look? How fun was it? It's, we're all the way back. And this was an awesome week 1 of college football. No surprise based off of the slate of games that was scheduled, but it definitely lived up to the billing as well. Pretty much every one of the big games actually was a great game to watch. And we'll get into some of those games as we run through our badges today. This is the first full week here. So we are doing 4 badges a piece, 8 total players this week, plus a call home. No all grown up this week, but that is coming next week because NFL football is only one day away from the time I'm speaking. And it's today for
when you
you
listen
if
to
you're
this.
yep, if you're listening to this on release day, welcome to the NFL season. Another wild ride for your favorite team and your fantasy team as well.
I'll also let you know, last week, week 0, the YouTube video had a ton of audio issues, so it didn't end up making it to the platform. We'll be back. We're good.
Yeah, we're good.
You should be seeing this, which then we're back.
You're hearing Collin tell you that we're back on YouTube while watching on YouTube. That's
right.
That's cinema right there.
That's right.
I think. Yeah. All right. Well, let's dive into it. We have some familiar names and some new names. It's a great slate of badges today, and I won the coin toss this morning. So we are kicking things off on my side with a familiar name, and it is Jonah Coleman, baby. Dare I say the my guy, shared my guy of the summer scouting process for us, a player that we just had such a blast watching his 2024 film, expecting him obviously to come out in his senior season and look like that and maybe even better. Talked in the summer about him cutting some weight, transforming his body, changing his diet. What's it going to look like on the field? Well, week 1, it looked pretty spectacular against Colorado State. He finished the game with 24 carries for 177 yards rushing and 2 touchdowns. Also added a 22-yard reception. This is not the Rome Odunze, Michael Penix Washington Huskies team. They were in a fight against against Colorado State and the Rams for like most of the game. It wasn't until kind of like the 4th quarter, maybe late 3rd quarter, that Washington started to turn it on a little bit. And a lot of that was Jonah Coleman kind of putting his foot to the gas pedal in the second half and really driving the stake in and making this, going from a really close game to one that finished as not so much. 177 rushing yards was tied for the second most in week 1. So this, among all running backs in college football, Jonah Coleman was one of the best this week. He only had one missed tackle force. That's a number that we're going to expect is going to climb in most of the games that he is playing this season. But the number that stands out this week outside of the raw production numbers is the yards after contact per attempt number, which was at 6.21. 149 of his 177 yards coming after contact. He was just a bulldozer in this game. And I will say he did look a little more trim. Like he still has that very compact sort of build. He's 5'9", like 220 plus, but like the round edges are maybe a little less so this year. You can really tell. And that strength, any strength that he's added in that process was showing up in this game. He was running over guys consistently, fighting through the first tackler consistently. It was a 3rd-and-1 run in the red zone. He just powered through several defenders, had a big gain, got inside the 5 on that run. And then the badge that I'm giving him is the triple effort badge for his run. Was almost a crazy highlight reel run in which he was tackled. I mean, he had already broken through several tackles at this point. He's getting wrapped up near the goal line, and it's one of those where he's like sitting on top of the tackler and spins off and dives into the end zone, and it seems like he scored. Upon review, his butt did hit the ground, and he punched it in. So 1-2, and then finally triple effort for the score. So it was an incredible first game, incredible start to the season for our guy, Jonah Coleman.
Yeah, he definitely looked more, like you said, more trim, more compact, maybe a little quicker. I don't know about any faster. It seemed like he still had that like one thing that we were looking out for. That was like, if he adds that top end speed, maybe he's like a real high level prospect. But this was a really encouraging start to the season for Coleman, where he's getting featured heavily as the lead back on this Washington team, as we expected him to. But it's always nice to just get the confirmation that like they didn't bring anybody in, they don't have a freshman that's going to be stealing this carries, where you just get that clean 26 or 25 touches. The catch maybe could use a little work on the kind of alligator armed the catch, but 22-yard reception nonetheless. Just felt good to see Jonah Coleman have just a huge game out of the gate, because we maybe went out on a limb a little bit. I don't really know with this class, but felt like we were aligned on like this is just a damn fun player to watch, and to see him go out and have this kind of fun game where his O-line's not doing him a whole lot of favors and he's still making the most out of it. It's was definitely fun to see.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm not super dialed in on this yet, but I get the sense that from what I know, that Coleman is kind of one of those players right now where you have pockets of people like you and me that are like, yeah, Coleman is he's one of my guys. Like
Yeah.
he's one of the best runners in this class. And then you have others that are probably just like he's kind of short and slower and
Sure, right.
whatever. So he's proven everybody wrong so far through 1 week of this college football season, all the doubters, all the haters. And I do want to shout out before we move on to the next player, another player from Washington that also has some haters, that also had an amazing start to the season, and that is Denzel Boston. 92 yards, had 2 amazing catches, one going all the way down to the shoestrings over the middle, plucking it off the turf, and then the other going the other direction using his 6'5" frame and going up in the red zone to pull one down through pass interference with one hand. So Boston, another player we're watching on Washington, and he also started the season very nicely.
Yeah, he had some of those Denzel Boston plays, I would say, where when you're looking at the good of Boston, it's like, man, this is a guy that can be like a real good contested catch X receiver. And that's like, if that's your cup of tea, you're going to love this player, I think.
I'm scared. I could feel it happening when I saw that touchdown
Yep.
catch. All right, well, let's switch gears to a wide receiver and one that we are also very familiar with.
Yep, we're gonna get right into Jordyn Tyson, top of the class, cream of the crop for wide receivers. That's because he had 141 yards and 2 touchdowns through the air on 12 catches, 17 targets, both second among all wide receivers in Week 1. Just like a dominant game of just imposing his will on the other team. Getting the too easy badge because he just like it feels casual almost to some of these catches. He makes just catching the ball look so easy, which is, you know, maybe that's supposed to be obvious for a guy with NFL prospects, but some of these guys, doesn't look that easy. Doesn't look that natural. And Tyson just has these easy, natural hands. He's got really nice route running that he showed off a couple times. Good at finding soft spots during scramble drills. Did that a few times too. Big yards. Really nice after the catch in this game. Took a screen pass to the house about, I think it was like 30 yards or so that he just like took it and went 22 yards. So I was just like really impressive top to bottom game for Tyson. Nice all around. Showed you a little bit of everything, kind of proving why he's top of the class.
Yeah, and I mean that's part of the early week experience. We had a lot of marquee games on the schedule. This is one of those where let's see how Arizona comes out of the gates against Northern Arizona,
Yeah.
I believe. And
The
so
Lumberjacks.
hey, that's kind of a sweet name.
It's kind of cool.
I'm
Are there
rooting for
trees in northern Arizona?
well, see, that's now I was wondering. I was like, wait a minute, that's kind of weird. Northern Oregon University, maybe that makes sense, um, but yeah, Tyson did in fact make it look too easy playing against this level of competition as he should. The touchdown catch, with the foot in the corner of the
Mm-hmm.
end zone, looking over his shoulder. I mean, just
Yep.
amazing ball tracking skills on display there. He really showed it all in this game.
Yeah, they did a little bit of everything. Like you said, that's like an NFL caliber what you're looking for with that other touchdown catch. Because I mentioned the one on the screen, and he caught a couple little screens and broke some tackles on those. But yeah, the ones where he's downfield, catching the like fade ball, it's like, yeah, this is the alpha kind of X receiver guy that you're looking for.
Let's talk about another wide receiver, and one that we haven't really talked about this summer, but we have talked about him before, and that is Germie Bernard from Alabama. So, if we recall to last summer, the crystal ball was speaking to us about some players in the Alabama wide receiver room, and the ball, as astute as it is, singled out Germie Bernard as the player that was likely to emerge from the Alabama wide receiver room under Kalen DeBoer's leadership with the program. We were expecting some high flying, like we're going to pass the ball a little bit more here at Alabama. How's Jalen Milroe going to be able to distribute it, and who's he going to be throwing it to? And it seemed like that would be Bernard, who was transferring from Washington, had familiarity with the coach. Ryan Williams ends up being a freshman sensation and taking over the lead wide receiver role for Alabama last season. But through one game this year, it is the Germie Bernard show once and for all with the Crimson Tide. Now, the game itself was a little bit concerning if you are a fan of the Crimson Tide, and Kalen DeBoer's butt, I think, is starting to get a little hotter than maybe you'd think that it should be at this point in his tenure there, but that's kind of how things go. And to lose this game unranked, Florida State coming in, knocking them off week 1. I mean, pretty bad look all around, but Bernard is getting the glory in defeat badge because despite the program and the guy in the stands giving the middle finger at the end of the game, Bernard finished this one with 8 catches on 12 targets for 146 yards. Contrasted with Ryan Williams, who had a disastrous game, 5 catches, 30 yards, 3 drops for Ryan Williams. So I don't know. We'll see what happens with that. We have a whole nother year with Ryan Williams, but Germie Bernard emerging in this game, taking that step. He had a great year last year. I mean, nothing, particularly eye popping, but it was a 794 yard, 2 touchdown season in his first year at Alabama. His first year really being a starting wide receiver. He was obviously behind Rome Odunze, Jalen McMillan, and Jalen Polk at Washington. He was playing a very gadgety role there in his final season, and got the opportunity to play real wide receiver a little bit last year, looked pretty good, and now coming out of the gates firing. Nothing really super flashy from him in this game. A lot of like outs, digs, comeback. He had one really nice catch, kind of tight roping the sideline. But it was just a really solid performance and one maybe to build on and gain some momentum for Bernard.
Yeah, he just felt like a safety blanket in this game where go to him in a lot of tough situations. He made a lot of really tough catches in this game where it was like, yeah, you're not doing something crazy after the catch. You're not doing anything really sexy, but it's just like taking the probability of a bad play and lowering it by throwing it to Germie Bernard. And it felt like, he had like a kind of a coming back to the ball diving catch on like a 2nd and 4 where it's like, yeah, it's not going to make the highlight reel, but it's a big play because you're getting a first down because of the extra effort that Bernard's showing. And like you said, he had that one where he ran an over route all the way across the field, and as like the 4th read on the play is getting it like at the very end of his route and tight roping. I mean, just a lot of really, unsexy, consistent, good plays from Germie Bernard. And that's a nice player to have, especially when you have a big play guy like Ryan Williams, to have like a possession receiver that is going to be more consistent. So maybe a nice 1-2 punch if they can figure some things out, but it it feels like there's a lot more wrong than you can cover up with 2 good receivers.
Yeah, it's a weird time. There's the question when you're questioning Alabama players' effort and toughness, you
Yep.
realize that we are in a different era of college football, to say the least.
Unfortunately.
Well, let's talk about a former member of the Crimson Tide now at Michigan.
Yeah, Justice Haynes, Michigan running back, transferred into Michigan from Alabama. Like you said, it's his junior year. He had 159 yards, 3 touchdowns, getting Old Faithful the hat trick badge.
There it is. Let's
Had
go.
92 yards after contact. Just a just following your blocks, playing good football. Like this is just clean, good vision, good feet. Trust your reads, follow your eyes, and make the play and turn the corner and go. Because it was like you're playing New Mexico. It doesn't have to be like I'm pile driving a linebacker and like hurdling a safety when you can just make it happen on 16 carries, 9.9 yards per attempt. So though not like the flashiest game, not the sexiest game, it's just one of those where it's like, hey, if this guy is going to be like run behind this offensive line and look really good, like who knows? Because again, like what's up with Michigan running backs? I don't know, because we've had a few that look like they're NFL bound and look like they're maybe star bound in the NFL and never really like make the ripple that you're hoping for. But Haynes maybe break the mold. I'm not sure.
Yeah, Haynes was a name that you shouted out, I believe, on our running back rankings this summer as an honorable mention sort of guy, because he was intriguing based on the fact that he was at Alabama, transferring to another power program and one that has become, very synonymous with running the football and producing NFL running backs in the process. I mean, even last year when it wasn't Blake Corum doing insane things, Khalil Mullings, the converted linebacker, and Donovan Edwards, both NFL bound players. Mullings actually still hanging around, I think, maybe on the Titans roster right now. So, I mean, these guys are definitely, this is one of those pipelines to definitely keep an eye on. And this was an awesome start for
Hmm.
Justice Haynes. I mean, player that never really got to show his full array at Alabama last year, only 78 carries, but managed 440 yards and 7 touchdowns on limited work. So I thought he showed really good burst and acceleration, some speed. I mean, obviously against these defenders, it's going to look a little bit more pronounced than maybe it will against the Big Ten schedule. But when he found the corner on that long run, it was like he's kind of turning it on a little bit right now. So
Hmm.
for a player that's not, he's not big, but he's not like super big, but he's 5'11, 210. He's got a little bit of size, especially in this sort of landscape at the running back position. I mean, there's definitely something to keep your eyes on here with Haynes.
Yeah, his second touchdown also was pretty nice. It was like it could have been dead to rights in the backfield for a player with like worse footwork, but he kind of like hopped to the like left to avoid the free defender in the backfield, and then used that burst to get out to the outside on the left side, and then did get caught on like what you thought would be his third touchdown. It was a 59-yard run and got tackled at the one, but then punched it in the next play. So it'll work as a goal line back. It's encouraging.
All right. Well, it's week 1. We had an IDP on the program in week 0. And by God, we're going to have another one in week 1. Can we keep the streak alive all season?
I hope so.
That's what the people are asking. This one was pretty easy though. Rueben Bain is getting a badge here for me this week because this was, I mean, just about as dominant as it gets in terms of an impact across, every level. I mean, just look at the stat sheet, you will see the sort of impact he was having. 4 pressures, a sack, a forced fumble, and an interception. I mean, he filled it up, and honestly, like, just his play to play ability, it seemed like was causing Notre Dame so much havoc that it seemed like they were shifting their game plan a little bit. Somebody who had a closer eye on this thing, a Miami outlet, made a note that was like, yeah, see, they are completely changing their game plan right now because they can't block Bain. So that's reflected in PFF's grades for this one as well, which we will reference. Yes, they are full of holes. We know that. But on the defensive side, 92.6 overall defensive grade. That is, one of the highest of the week. 90.7 run defense grade as well. So he's showing up, rushing the passer, but they are giving him a lot of credit for his ability in the run defense game as well. He looked a little bit bigger to me too. I
Hmm.
don't did you have the same
I did
experience?
have the same experience.
Like it looks like he's maybe added a little bit of weight and um
And PFF lists him as 0 pounds.
yeah,
So he
they
definitely
probably
added some kind of weight.
they probably saw him and were like, "Wait, this weight that we have is not right. Get rid of it." But yeah, with the added weight, there were a few plays that I saw for a player that we kind of championed for his effort last year. There were definitely some plays in this game where he was taking a play off. Like there was that one of the touchdowns actually when Carr got way
Yep.
outside the pocket, he was jogging him down out like the other end missed the sack and Bain was just kind of jogging and Carr rips that throw and they get the touchdown. So you don't love to see that. But I mean, when he's having the sort of impact he was having on the majority of the plays in the game, I guess you can let that slide for right now. He's getting the Tyrannosaurus badge because not only did he have that sort of a terrifying impact in this game, but I'm also giving him this badge based off of a quote from Mario Cristobal, I believe today on the Pat McAfee show, in which Cristobal said, talking about Miami at practice today. Today, Francis Magoya versus Rueben Bain in a one-on-one. It's like Jurassic Park. Magoya is their 6'7" future high first round NFL draft pick at left tackle. So, yeah, when you have those two guys fighting in practice, it looks a little bit scary, and we got to see Bain doing that on the field this weekend.
Yeah, I'm glad you mentioned the like taking some plays off thing, because it definitely felt like there were a few times where he was pretty content to like hang out with the right tackle or the left tackle and just be like, I'm just gonna play contain here, and maybe that's his responsibility. So maybe it's not being lazy, but there's definitely like backside, like yeah, somebody else can tackle him. I'll get ready for my next pass rush set. But yeah, on the plays where he's going, like he can turn that corner like crazy and force Carr up into some muddy pockets a few times. Like you see the pick that he had was also like a hustle play. Like that was one where it got popped up in the air like 3 different times. Number 0 like jumped like 3 feet in the air and like batted the ball and then kicked it, and then Bain came over and secured it and ran it up the sideline a little bit. So definitely like a guy that's gonna ruin a passing game plan, and probably like maybe I'm just saying like Notre Dame. I'm not trying to question a game plan, but I don't know, maybe give Jeremiah Love the ball a couple times. No reported injuries. I don't know, but they came out passing like I think 6 straight plays or something like that, and it's like I don't know, against one of the best pass rushers in the country, with one of the best running backs in the country, just kind of feels a little bit backwards. But yeah, I looked into the Jeremiah Love stuff, and I feel like this is relevant in this situation.
Yeah,
because he, I mean, just didn't play a lot. And that was, I guess, one of our biggest questions was like, what does the workload look like for Jeremiah Love? And it like seemed like they were just featuring the other guy. It just like didn't seem like they were very interested. So I don't know if it's a discipline thing. Like we're not in the Notre Dame locker room. That's not something that like we can know right now. But as of right now, it just seems a little off that Love wasn't more featured in this game.
yeah. Jadarian Price is the other back that they have, and he is a good back as well. Like Jeremiah Love just happens to be this potential top 10 sort of NFL draft talent at this position. Love did end the game with more touches, but I in the first half definitely it was like a little bit strange how it was getting played out. And then Love only ended with 33 yards, 3.3 per carry. Price had 7.5 per carry on 6 carries, 45 yards. So to your point, like this is going to be one of the things that we are watching all season because of what I mean. He was excellent and incredibly efficient in what was a lower workload last year. Will they up the workload? Will he continue to be as efficient this year if they don't? And so far through one game, I mean, we kind of see what it looked like. So he did have 4 catches as well on 6 targets, but
that's a kind of why I asked, like, is it a discipline thing? Because like maybe like a first half kind of like put him on the back burner a little bit. Don't really use him in the first half, and then let him rip in the second half. Or if it's really a workload thing, like we got to save his legs for when it's time to be a closer.
all right. Well, let's talk about a running back that is not Jeremiah Love, but
Right.
is good? Question mark.
Well, that's the question that I want to answer, because we have Damari Alston out of Auburn. This is number 0. They have a couple running backs that they have that kind of rotate in and out. Alston in this game, you'll notice he's the like angriest of the three, I'd say. He's about 5'9", 215. Looks just like all muscle. Like that, there is not like an ounce of fat on Alston, and he was burying people in this game. He's getting the angry runs badge. 7 missed tackles forced, only a long run of 11, and this is just like he's still like 5.3 yards per carry. So like he's grinding out every single yard on every single carry. 16 touches, 84 yards, and a touchdown. And I kind of jumped out where it's like, man, there's just not a ton of like big plays coming out of Alston in this game. But every single time he touches the ball, he's like punishing the defense, just like stiff arming a guy, trucking a guy, getting those 2-3 extra yards. Just a perfect like goal line back, 4.13 yards after contact per attempt with 66 yards after contact. So it's just like every single carry is a grind, but like the fun kind, where he got 8 first downs on 16 carries, plus a touchdown. So it's like he's being effective, and like it's fun to watch this kind of player.
Yeah, they brought in Durrell Robinson. I forgot about he only got 1 carry, but he is from UConn. Yeah, UConn. He had a pretty good season there last year, but yeah, Alston was the guy that they were kind of leaning on in this game. And like you said, I mean, it is kind of shocking when you see a player that has a high run of 11 yards and still managing to put out this sort of an output. I mean, that is just pure grit, determination, tough running. Maybe a little Tank Bigsby-esque. I don't know. And just
I wasn't gonna say it, but I was thinking it. I can tell you that. But yeah, this is gonna be like one of those guys that just keep a tab on to see, just watch him regardless of whether like what's going on. Like just see if number 0 like put a guy in the dirt, because it's pretty likely given what he did this week.
All right, well, let's talk about another name that is new to the program. Very unheralded, maybe outside of the state of Idaho before this week of college football. This is Jordyn Dwyer, the wide receiver from TCU. Famous in Idaho because he spent 3 years at the University of Idaho. And last season had 79 catches for 1,204 yards and 12 touchdowns. Absolute domination in the Big Sky, going crazy, earning his way to the TCU program, and coming out of the gates like he never missed a beat. Like he's still playing against the Big Sky, it looks like, except he wasn't. He was playing against Bill Belichick. He's getting the Bill Who badge. Because this TCU team absolutely demolished the new look Tar Heels with Belichick in charge. Embarrassing debut for Bill over there. And Jordyn Dwyer, man, I mean, he was a killer. 9 catches, 9 targets, 136 yards, and a touchdown. He was a yard short of a second touchdown. Took a screen, made a move, got upfield, got tackled at the 1. The touchdown that he had was on a go route. Nice stack. Used the arm to get a little bit of late separation. Brought it down. Ran a post corner that was not great, but managed to finish the play against the sideline with one of these tightrope amazing catches where the ball kind of leapt up on him and he got the hands up and secured it. And then had another screen that he kind of made a play on, made a guy miss and got upfield. So he was kind of doing a lot of different things in this game. Based on what I saw, the route running wasn't necessarily super proficient, but he certainly showed that making the jump to this level of football and playing against, a team that maybe we'll end up looking back on this and being like, oh yeah, that Tar Heels team was bad.
Yeah.
But a great start for Dwyer.
Yeah, I would agree. Nice releases, I would say. Routes definitely need a little bit of work. Definitely, like, he was getting open, which is all that like matters at the end of the day. But he had one where it was like it looked like it was just a deep like 10-yard, 12-yard out, and he like opened to the inside and then went out, and it was like, is that like a deep return route? Like, is that I'd never seen that before, and so I don't know if that's just a little ad lib on his part, like finding some space. But then like the post corner was like, okay, but really nice late hands on that to like get up and pluck that out of the air. So the hands are definitely a plus. And the speed is apparent. The releases are pretty solid. So definitely like, hey, put a little star by his name and just keep an eye on what he's doing every week to see if we have a guy, because this is a pretty impressive week 1 game. And like, if UNC ends up being like pretty decent, which it doesn't seem likely, but if they do, then like this will look even better in the future.
6 foot 190, by the way, for Dwyer. So he's got a little bit of size.
Different than like all of the other like 5'11", 190 guys in this class.
Right. It just helps when you see a 6.
Mm-hmm.
It's like the trick of the eye when you're like, well, he's 6 feet. I mean, he's got the size, right?
Ask women that have Tinder. It matters.
Right. Also, dreadlocks
Yeah.
with the TCU, it's just there's a vibe.
PTSD. Is there PTSD?
Well, there's a little bit of PTSD, but it just always seems like Quinn Johnson, Savion Williams, I mean, Kendre Miller running. They're running back right now. Also, like that's just the vibe that they have down there. It looks nice.
Do you want to talk about Bill Belichick?
We can.
I mean,
he sucks.
Let's stay retired. Sometimes retiring is good.
I truly believe after this one game that we have already learned that he will walk away at the end of this season and just be done. Like this was his like Michael Jordan trying to play baseball thing, and it's just like
it's still football.
Like
it's the exact thing you were doing, but like allegedly easier, and you just walk in and are horrible at it. And it's like you get embarrassed by TCU on national television in your like solo spot, and just like, oh, okay, I guess like this isn't even going to be fun. Like it's kind of like, it feels like elder abuse to like sit and watch like a 74-year-old man get embarrassed weekly on TV.
So I didn't watch a ton of the actual broadcast of this game, but from what I saw, it seemed like was it Herb Street calling the game?
I don't know. I didn't catch it.
They were talking, as people on social media were talking about like the like Belichick was getting.
It was that because they put the dog on the headset at the end of the game.
Yes,
that's right.
It was like all about Bill Belichick, all about what's going on with North Carolina. Like TCU was getting completely swept under the rug, and then they just came out and punched him in the mouth and just.
That's funny. And the ESPN thumbnail is Bill Belichick for their highlights. That's good.
Yep, there it is.
Yeah, so gonna be a fun season to keep tabs on how UNC's doing. Just to kind of rub it in a little bit. Like, hey, sometimes ending your career is good for your legacy.
Yeah,
I'll leave it at that.
It's like when a show ends at the perfect time. When you're like, if they had did one more season, they would have ruined it a little bit. Like they would have, you'd have a sour taste in your mouth a little bit.
Yep.
Know when to walk away. That's a good thing.
Exactly.
All right.
Well, we're not walking away yet. I have another badge to give out, and it's going to a favorite of mine, a person we talked about in summer, Nyck Harbor from South Carolina, and he had 3 catches, 6 targets, 99 yards, and a touchdown. Should have been 4 catches, about 115 yards, 2 touchdowns, but I'll get to that in a little bit. Harbor did like the Nyck Harbor thing. He's getting the Freaks badge. If you remember, he was number 1 on the Freaks list 2 years in a row. I think he was number 2 or number 3 on the freaks list this year. Because he's like a physical specimen, 6'5", 235. Also is like an all-state track athlete, an all-world track athlete, it feels like, at his size, where he's running like a 10-10 100-yard dash, and it's like, he's that big? Or 100-meter dash, sorry, track people. I've announced track before. I know these things. I'm sorry. But yeah, it came into this game, had the bomb touchdown, where it's like sometimes you just got to throw it up to the guy that is 6'5", 235 that can run past everybody, and it'll work. Worked in this game where he ran. It was like kind of an over post. Like, it wasn't really a route. It was just like, run past this guy and go get the ball, and Sellers throw it as far as he can. And that's
works.
Probably going to happen 5 more times this season, at least. But he also had a catch, which I'll get to now, where he ran like a nice out corner route in the end zone, caught it over his shoulder, cuffed it, got his feet down, got pushed out of bounds. The guy was like clawing at the ball, went down, and it was like, oh, it's touchdown. And then they overturned it after like 18 reviews, going frame by frame to see if the ball moved at all. And it's like, okay, did he have control? Yes. So shouldn't it be, got control, feet down, controlled it through the ground, thought that was a touchdown. Apparently it's not. So that for me is a touchdown catch. So I marked it down as like really nice Nyck Harbor game. Didn't really have like all the things that you're like, man, if he really refines the route running, he's going to be special. Don't know if that's in the cards. Don't know if maybe he's just like more like, I run 4 routes and I am like, that's it. And that's all you get. And because I'm so awesome and athletic, that's good enough,
Yeah, there's 2 parts to this, which is, if you had told me in the summer that Nyck Harbor was getting a badge week 1 at Camp Dynasty, I would have been like, oh my God, we're doing the damn thing. Like, it's happening. And on the other hand, he did get a badge this week, and that's awesome. But I don't think it means that it's happening. Not yet.
Right.
Because of what you just said. I mean, this play, the shot touchdown, that will happen again several times this season. I mean, he's too big, too fast. It's just going to work. You weren't seeing him. There wasn't some like introduction of new route techniques or new routes really at all that I saw, but it is encouraging that he comes out of the gate and has this game where he's pretty much 100-yard game, a touchdown to start the year. He's got this, rapport with Sellers. We have a whole season. Like, maybe he ramps up. Maybe we start to see a little bit more throughout the season. But I mean, I don't want to be picky, because I wouldn't have expected him to be in this position week 1, and us sitting here talking about him having this awesome game in week 1. So here we go. Is it Nyck Harbor season? We'll find out.
Yeah. Listen, his career high is 376 yards on a season.
Right.
He's already at 100. Like, we're on pace to have the best season of his career already, and that's the encouraging part. Whether we see like growth technique wise is another thing. Hopefully we do, but right now hoping for just like some week to week consistency.
And I'll shout out on the end here. I know it's week 1, a lot of excitement. We're throwing in a lot of additional names. That's whatever. The other guy that fits this sort of a description that was also in your top 5 receivers in the summer, Zachariah Branch, was a player that very raw, flashes. Everybody kind of knows about him, knows about the athleticism that he has. He transfers to Georgia. He also has basically the same game. The difference was that his touchdown was not a deep shot; it was a screen,
which
that he
classic.
just housed.
It's like, what did they do well? Nyck Harbor, run fast, catch the ball deep. Zachariah Branch to make people miss on a screen pass. Like,
Right.
yeah.
It was perfect. 3 catches, like 90 something yards, like almost identical games. They both did their thing. And hopefully it means for both of them that this is the start of a really great season in which they can start to show kind of their true colors and what that might mean for the next step.
Also, if you're listening to this, you're probably one of the 17.7 million people that watch Texas Ohio State. But Carnell Tate also
Yes.
was basically the featured receiver on the team as Texas sent everything they had at Jeremiah Smith. And had a nice touchdown catch, a little circus catch where he bobbled it. So that was also like, hey, vindication of a take that you had in the summer, but not a huge game. Nothing like neither of those. I mean, that game was a slugfest. But yeah, a little Carnell Tate love at the end.
We're not done talking about that game. Because as fun as this week was, and it was very fun, and we have 8 badges and we got a lot more mentions in there, a lot of excitement, maybe some buzz, even like 26 was kind of like we had a sour taste in our mouth this summer, and now maybe it's like, okay, I kind of see it. It's starting to come to life a little bit. But as we do here every single week, we do all the fun stuff up front, and then we have to do the thing. We have to do that one thing for that one player that didn't do the stuff we wanted, and that is the call home. And this week, we are staying in that Ohio State Texas game. And it will come as no surprise to you that we are phoning Cooper Manning and we are talking about Arch and the performance that he put on display against Ohio State, which had the internet going full meme mode through the first half, at least the first half, because this was a 17 of 30, 170, a touchdown and a pick. The first half was very bad. Like there was a point in time where I think it was like late second quarter and he had like 30 yards passing or something. It was ridiculous. And there was a reason why the internet exploded and started to come out and be like, well, this is what he played against in high school. And he's actually Zach Wilson and blah, blah, and whatever else. So what is your takeaway from a performance like this?
My takeaway is he's playing like the first real game of his college career, and I don't think he was like ready for how it was going to feel and like what he was going to need to do as a player, because it felt like he was almost like laissez-faire. Like he was just back there being Arch Manning, kind of like his shit doesn't stink, and throwing sidearm, like not stepping into throws. It felt like he was almost like too nonchalant. And sometimes you got to kind of lock in and be chalant. Like sometimes you got to square your shoulders, step into it, deliver like a piss rod to the guy's front shoulder. Like you can't just like sit back there and, sling a sidearm to the guys and hope he makes the catch for you. Like, I think Arch Manning has a ton of arm talent. I think he's like a good mover. He is an athlete. Like there's a reason we both picked him to be our number 1 quarterback in the preseason, and it's because he has all the talent in the world. This game, it just felt like he wasn't ready for like the moment. And maybe that's why we're hearing that he isn't going to declare for the 26th draft. Again, that's not substantiated by him. That's just his grandpa, I think it was. But it just like, it felt like it was almost too casual. Like we got to kind of step into the moment. We're not playing, some random Big Sky school that we put on. It's a softener on the schedule. Like we're playing Ohio State. Everything's got to be perfect. And I just don't know if he was like kind of working at that speed yet, and that's due to inexperience. So footwork was a little rough. varying arm angles when he doesn't need to. Like, it just felt like it was a little sloppy.
This is one of those situations where, like pretty much everything in life, there is nuance to like the Arch Manning situation is there's a lot of nuance to it. And sports in general tend to be a fairly nuanced thing that we do not allow to be nuanced at all. We have to be black and white. You're either great or you suck. And when Arch came out and wasn't looking great, it was like he sucks. He's a bust. Why are we talking about him? He's a nepo baby, and like just it's one of those things where when you take a step back, and even for us as two people that had him as and have him as quarterback one in the class ahead of the season, when you watch his film from last year, and I said this on quarterback rankings, his processing needs to speed up. He last season in the 3 games that he played, I did not think he was particularly seeing the field at an elite level in terms of processing and getting through his reads and understanding what was happening. He had the arm talent for days. He was making throws with anticipation. He was dropping dimes and making it look like super easy for a guy who was, getting thrust into the action middle of the season. But I think the point that you started with when you started talking was he's playing against Ohio State.
Mm-hmm.
This is his first, like, yes, he played 3 games last year. He played against UTSA. He played against some other small school, and then he played against Mississippi State. And he was good in all of those games, including the Mississippi State game. But Mississippi State is not Ohio State.
Right.
They are not the reigning, defending national champions that also have a defense full of NFL talent, including potentially the best defensive player in the draft.
Potentially the best player in the draft.
Yeah, potentially the best player, period, in the draft in Caleb Downs. And Sonny Styles, that was a player that we talked a little bit about. He was showing up in a big way in this game. This was an absolutely, a loaded test for him to have to face in his first game. And yes, that sounds like an excuse. And especially for a player that you want to go number 1 overall and you want to be the savior of your team in a year from now. But I think let's just take a breath and trust that maybe there's some first game jitters. Maybe there's some growth that is still needing to happen that will happen over the course of the season. I mean, this is way more nuanced than he had a bad game, he sucks now.
Yeah. I also, like, for the pluses, like, I think there's also, like, a lot you can glean on the positive side of things, because I think a lot of people are ready to kind of chastise and, like, I can't believe you guys were ready to crown him as your number 1 quarterback or as the number 1 pick, or he's a nepo baby. If he didn't have the name Manning, nobody would be talking about him. I think there's a lot of things that go into this where, like, he had 2 awesome throws. He had one up the sideline where it was against cover 2, where there's a trailing cornerback and a safety rolling over the top, and he fit it over the shoulder to the sideline where it's like textbook, perfect throw. Can't do it any better. And then on the touchdown throw he had, it was also like find the gap between, the DB, your receiver, and the back line of the end zone, and just dropped it in over the shoulder there. His pocket awareness and movement looked fantastic. He was stepping up, sliding, rolling out when he needed to. It never felt like he was like jumpy in the pocket. Sometimes it felt like he was shying away from contact on those sidearm throws where he's like bracing to get hit as he threw it, and he almost threw a pick because of that. But I think a majority of the game he was moving and sliding and doing really well and throwing well on the run. I feel like his mechanics there are really good. It's just like in the pocket, let's clean up a little bit. And I think like with some decent coaching and some time playing the position, that all is stuff that will happen with experience.
It's just one number by one outlet But you just talked about some of the throws that he made, and PFF, their big time throw metric, where they grade a quarterback's throw as, yes, that was a very high level throw, something akin to what you'd see with in an NFL environment. Arch Manning led all quarterbacks in week 1 of college football, tied for the lead with 4 big time throws in this game. And I'm not saying that with that, it's like he didn't have a bad game. He did. He absolutely did have a bad game. But I don't think it was quite as bad as it was being made out to be. And I think honestly, there were probably a lot of people that were watching the first half and got their tweets
Right.
in and
Yeah.
fired it off, and then everyone's piling on and like, yeah, it's and then like the second half happened, and then everyone was kind of like, oh, okay, like
Yeah.
that was better, like. So yes, let's give Arch some time. He's not a nepo baby yet.
Well, he is a nepo baby,
But
regardless of what happens.
he is. You're right. He is, but he might also have the talent
Yeah.
to back it up.
Right. He
as
might
of
be
now.
like a good nepo baby.
Yeah.
Like, there's some actors out there that are like, oh, like Jack Quaid, good nepo baby. All right.
Yeah.
Come on. But another thing, Texas's O-line is also awesome. So, like, that's going to help a lot where he's not, like, running for his life a lot of the time. Had 3.28 seconds to throw per drop back. So that's also going to help a lot, but it's also like if he wants to be the number 1 pick, probably not going to help a lot. We saw this with Caleb Williams, long time to throw, buying time, doing that kind of stuff. So we'll see how that translates. Just another thing that stood out to me.
Well, there it is. Because we are not gathering around the campfire this week. We do not have any players to talk about. But
we can talk about NFL Red Zone.
Yeah. So what is happening with this?
They're adding commercials to NFL Red Zone.
Like all of the red zones?
Like full-on commercials to... What do you mean all of red zones?
Because aren't there 2 versions? Or is that ending now that ESPN has it?
I don't know what the second version is.
There was always one version, like there was the Scott Hansen version that
Mhm.
everybody was familiar with. But then there was also like a different one, I thought, that had like a different host, unless maybe that ended a while ago.
I'm not familiar with the second one. But
so what you're telling me is that the red zone that
7 hours of commercial-free football is over.
It's no longer a thing.
It's over. And I think I bought my subscription minutes before they made the announcement. And I was like, well, I wouldn't have bought the subscription. Like, I would have just illegally streamed it if I knew it was going to have commercials. But here we are. I just think it's a terrible... I guess this is what capitalism is, and ESPN wants to ruin things.
We live in a world where slowly but surely every good thing is taken away from us.
It's true.
Red Zone being a commercial-free experience was one of the last good things that we had, and it is now gone.
How long until public libraries are gone?
Right.
I mean, if Red Zone can get taken...
maybe not that long.
Yeah, if Red Zone can get taken, anybody's vulnerable.
Wow. I mean, I didn't even hear the official news. I just kind of assumed with the whole ESPN business that was an inevitability.
Yeah. Things will get worse because they got bought by ESPN. Yeah,
yes.
That's a fair assumption.
But, well, that is heartbreaking news for all football fans. But the main thing is that football is back tomorrow.
It's true.
And whether or not we have to suffer through a few extra commercials will not change the fact that this is the best time of the year and that it all starts tomorrow. And your lineups are getting set. You're locking it in. Those points are going to hit the board tomorrow night.
Getting notifications that players are going to be healthy to play. And feels real good right now.
Yep. It's all happening. We're fully back. College football is well underway now, and the NFL right around the corner. So next week, we will in fact gather around the campfire on All Grown Up and talk about how the campers of old were faring in maybe their first week in the NFL, maybe their second or third season in the NFL. We are not exclusive to the previous camp, the class anymore. So
Yeah, and we'll break down, overreact probably to a lot of
yes,
things.
of course.
Maybe underreact to a couple things, but I think mostly overreaction. So I'm pretty jazzed. See Ashton Genty and the crew take on the NFL.
Yeah. Romo Dunze goes 120 and a touchdown, and I will tell you to send everything you have for him because it's your last chance to get him.
Amen.
All right. If you enjoyed our discussion about week 1 of college football, be sure to find us on Twitter, camp_dynasty, TikTok at camp.dynasty. If you are watching us on YouTube, be sure to like the video and subscribe if you have not done those things already, because we appreciate it. And if you are listening on the pod feed, be sure to follow and share and subscribe and like and rate and possibly even review the podcast if you have not done that already as well, because it helps us greatly and we very much appreciate it.
23 hours and 58 minutes away, officially right now, less than a day.
I want to get I'm going to use my iPad and just get like a timer and put it up on the wall. Just like look at it and be like, we're getting closer. It's happening.
I don't even, who's even playing week 1? Chiefs, Chargers?
That sounds right. Yeah.
In Brazil.
That's right. And there's a whole scandal with it. Well,
I can share my thoughts about that later.
As a Packer fan, I remember what it was like.
Brazil killed Jordan Love.
It's true. It did. Thanks for stopping by Camp Dynasty this week, and we will see you next week.